definitely look a little bit thinner. Whereas when it goes over to widescreen, it does seem to make them plump up a little bit. Not very much, but when you switch backwards and forwards between the two, you can see a noticeable difference in the plumpness of their faces. Just getting back to lighting and so on, I don't know whether you've ever seen the film Barry Lyndon. It's a Stanley Kubrick film. It's really quite a long and boring film in my opinion, but most of it was recorded or filmed with a very special lens with an f-stop that is exceptionally good for low light. And a lot of the scenes were filmed in candlelight. Kubrick wanted to get the atmosphere of the film right, and he shot a lot of the scenes that were indoors using no artificial lighting at all. It was actually filmed in candlelight, and the lens that they used was I forget the f-stop number, but it was incredibly low, and it was developed for NASA. And Kubrick managed to buy or borrow two of these lenses and filmed most of this film Barry Lyndon with the night scenes indoors under candlelight, just out of sort of technical interest. G0GSR in the group, M0SPZ.
G0GSR, I bet that was a noisy old film anyway, if it was shot on film. Have to be very high ISO value to do that, even with a very large lens. But here you mentioned Dad's Army. Well, he should be correct. If you watch it in its native aspect ratio 4:3, the people shouldn't look fat or thin. They should look okay. But a lot of the time you don't get the choice, and the aspect ratio control is done before it ever gets broadcast. So they have a box called an aspect ratio controller, and that will do. They're very clever actually, and they sometimes look alright, but often they don't quite look right on the old material.
I'm not sure, but anyway, I'll have a quick comment on that. Yeah, we've got lots of trees to do with.
Of course, I just read you out as the CW man with the 500 sessions. Yeah, it's funny because when
it's the same meter that I've been giving you reports on for weeks. I know it's generous above strength 9. It's about right at strength 9, and then above that, it could be. I think plus 10 is about reasonable, and then above that, it can be anything. So, but there again, as I say, the meter's going hard over, and the signals are very strong. And I am getting background noise this morning. Normally, I've got a frying noise, and normally the meter drops right back on the stop. Or it has been in the past, but this morning it's about strength 6 or 7 frying noise here this morning. So there we are. Anyway, go, you had a good week in Wales, Bob, and certainly you did very well with the 5 watts. I think a lot of that was due to the very good propagation, because the propagation has improved considerably over the past month, I should think. But with 5 watts and the temporary aerial, you did amazingly well. I was copying you. I was just sitting back listening on the speaker. No difficulty here. So, there we are. Anyway, let's pass it round to Dave. It's all yours, Dave. M0DFW. I did listen for you on Friday night, but there was such a cacophony on, I didn't hear you. It's all yours.
G3BYG and the group M0DFW returning. Yes, fine on everything there, Willie. And yes, I did come on, but I think I was on the wrong frequency to start with, and then I did start calling you various spots around the 3662 there, but I had no luck, so I gave up in the end. But there we go. I did call in, but I think actually when I first called in, I was on the wrong frequency. So if you didn't hear me, then that's the reason why. But it was very noisy, wasn't it, on Friday? Anyway, but yes, nice to hear Bob back in. I think it's Hereford where he lives there. A very, very good signal from you today, there, Bob. I was having a bit of a difficulty with you when you were up in Wales. I could hear you, but you weren't as good as you are now. I think the other Bob, TPC, is the worst station I've heard up to now. I haven't heard George yet. There, Willie. So there you go. You were 5 and 9 plus 10 to 20, and TPC was a sort of 5 and 7 to 8. Well, say 5 and 7 to 8. It's more like 4 and 7 to 8 because there's so much QM on the background today. I was having difficulty with that Bob, but I see IXZ Bob. Very very good signal. 5 and 7 to 9. But no problem with you. I'm getting everything Q5, but the other Bob I'm having problems with in Twickenham there. So there we go. Anyway, it's nice to hear everybody. So we'll be switching off over onto OV at on 77s at 7:30 there. See how they got on with the scouts yesterday. I wonder how the what was it the North Devon scouts got on there, Willie, or maybe Jim's there to be able to tell me. G3 BYG M0 DFW.
M0 DFW and the group G3 BYG right back. Yes, okay, Dave, all fine from you. And you are, everybody's very strong signals this morning. 10, 20, 30 over 9 from everybody this morning. So there we are. And as I said earlier, I have got a frying noise in the background, which is about strength 6 or 7, which is very unusual here. And as you say, there's all sorts of noises in the background, Dave. Well, I listened on 3762 for at least until 15:15 or even longer, Dave. Actually, I think I said I've been repairing an FT101ZD, and I was actually doing that and occasionally tuning up and down to see if I could find you among all the cacophony, but I didn't hear you at all. There was a terrific racket on there, and everybody seemed to be on top of everybody else. So if you'd have been in there, I might have heard you, but I'm afraid I didn't, Dave. So there we are. And I think you said you were on the wrong frequency to start with. Well, I listened for more than a quarter of an hour, so if you did come back on the right frequency in that time, I would have thought I might have heard you, but as we've said, it was very busy on Friday evening. Incidentally, I did go up to the other frequency on 3752, and that was absolutely quiet, surprisingly enough. It never is when we go on there, mind you, but it was on Friday evening. Right, we go back to Jim. It's all yours, Jim. You can tell Dave all about the Jota weekend, M0 G4WYJ.
Yeah, okay, fine business, Willie. G3BYG for the group G4WYJ. Well, good morning, everybody. Nice to hear you all. I've copied everybody, but some of the signals are a little bit less. I don't know what's going with your S meter, Willie. I'm getting people at the same signal strength as usual. I didn't look at the meter for George, but I would think George is about plus 10. I'll check that on the meter here. You're plus 45, which is what you are all the time. The meter on this 847 goes up to plus 60. I wasn't actually in the room when Bob CPC was transmitting. I was rebroadcasting it on the little handhelds. So I'll give Bob a report next time. Bob IXZ was getting up to 5 and 9 on speech peaks, and so was Dave, DFW. But most of the time Dave was around S7. But just on a few speech peaks he did get up to the S9. So there we are. But 100% copy from everybody. Haven't missed a word. So there we are. Okay, Dave. I was at the first Flemington Scout headquarters. Between Barnstable and Bideford yesterday. I got there at about quarter 20 past 8. and the wind was blowing, very, very strong gusts. But fortunately, between the gusts, the wind was always blowing, but I've got a fiberglass telescopic pole, Dave, that goes up to 60 foot. It's about 3 inches at the bottom and very thin at the top, but actually I took the top section out, and I managed to get a G5 RV up about 35, 36 foot, something like that. The feed point was at the bottom guys on it, and then guide the top, and then it was pretty stable all day, but it was before I was guying it was really blowing around all over the place. But when I came to take it down about 20 past 4, well, the wind had really got up, and it wasn't just gusts, it was pretty constant, and it was very, very difficult to get the sections to telescope back down inside one another. What I do is I stand the thing vertically using a spirit level and set of guys to get it absolutely vertical at 6 foot with everything else telescoped inside it. Then I slide it up because I was on my own. I didn't have any help to put it up. We get 2 or 3 other people, or 1 or 2 other people there, so there's 2 or 3 of you, and you can sort of stretch it out on the ground and then erect it. But putting it up on my own, the only way I can do it is to do it telescopically, and that's what I did. Anyway, I got a G5 RV up, and it worked extremely well. We had very good contacts around the place. Worked up to a scout activity centre in Perthshire in Scotland, and then towards the end of that was on, I think that was probably 40 metres, and worked another station at the end of the day in Glasgow. We had very good signals both ways, but in between that, Stevenage, Plymouth, Stafford, Liverpool, or wasn't Liverpool, was it? It was Chorley in Lancashire. So we worked all over the place, and good signals. But as Willie said, there was lots and lots of other traffic. I mean, it was Jota weekend, and there were a lot of stations on. There really were. But it all worked very well. All the scouts gave their greetings messages, and got some questions back, and they managed to answer those as well. So we were getting the audio was sufficiently good. Interestingly, actually, I was using the BHI speaker, and I had to stop using it because when it was digitising, and the band would go quiet, it would start hunting, and then when the person spoke again, it took a long time to settle down. So I found it better just to have the hash. And the scouts were able to understand it through that, so there we are. I think next year we might invest in next year. I'm not sure I'm going to do it there next year. I'd much rather do it at Holsworthy. But I think some headsets would be a benefit. And I bought a set of headset recently, very inexpensively in Lidl, and it's a very, very good class headset. So I think I might avail myself of a couple more of those, and then we'll have them so that we can jiggle them all together, and hopefully then they'll be able to hear over the other noise in the scout hall. And the acoustics in there were terrible, very similar to that classroom we meet in, Willie. You were trying to beat that and the noise on the band, and it was just very, very difficult. But there we are. But all in all, I very much enjoyed it. I think everybody else did. Lots of smiles and all the rest of it. And we took them to the window and showed them the bit of wire and explained to them that that we were energising that bit of wire, and it was producing a signal that somebody was copying sort of 500 or 600 miles away. So that impressed them. Of course, the Joti station, Jamboree on the internet, well, they were working the world on that. I did tune around on 20 when it got a bit quiet, when I didn't have any kids waiting, and I was copying lots of stateside stuff and lots of European. But then later on in the day, when I thought, 40 was getting a bit hard, I thought I'll try 20. There was nothing really about, and by then there was an Italian contest on, so...
I was trying to think whether I could get away with putting it off to next year.
It's nice and steady, and
And that haze is much
So I don't know. Needs to be tracked down. I think Martin gets the same.
Then we'll turn it back to you, and then we'll pop the other two on. So just to speed things along. So just stand by one moment.
Daniel, Delta Alpha November India Echo Lima. I'm 13 with the 39th Standby Scouts, and I've got 9 badges.
There we go, that's very good. Nice and loud from Daniel. Here's the next young man, stand by.
My name is Jacob, Juliet Alpha Charlie Oscar Bravo. I am 10 years old. I go to 39th Standby Scouts, and I was just come into Scouts. My hobbies are football, cricket, and cycling.
Very good, thank you very much. There we go. So hopefully you copied both from Daniel and Jacob. And we seem to have a lot of cricketers here as well. I'm sure you'll find out as the conversation goes on. Back to you, Mark, from GB0WHT.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, good morning, Daniel, and good morning, Jacob. Be interested to know, Daniel, what your hobbies are. What hobbies you have apart from scouting. I have varied hobbies, amateur radio being one, and I also enjoy fish keeping, and I do a lot of fishing as well there. I'll hand it back to you, Daniel, to tell me about your hobbies there. From 2 Echo 0 Romeo Foxtrot, Mark in Ellesmere Port.
Hello, yes, I've not got very many hobbies, but I do attend the RAF Air Cadets.
Oh, there we go. Didn't know that one. That's the new one on me, so the Air Cadets, Mark, over.
Yeah, Roger, the Air Cadets, interesting, and you could end up with a career out of it if it's your thing. My nephew was in the Air Cadets and made it to a ranking, whatever it was, in the Air Cadets, but he didn't take a career up in the RAF. I'll have a quick chat with Jacob as well. I'll be interested to know what football team you support, Jacob. From Mark in Ellesmere Port, 2 Echo 0 Romeo Foxtrot.
I think that's it with any football, Mark. What about 2 hours? There are a lot of black faces when you say Crew, Alex, and I don't want to football at all, Mark, so I'll enjoy it.
Yeah, Roger. No, Manchester United, I know it's popular up here. Mainly around my way, the Everton supporters. But seeing as I come from Essex, I support West Ham, so we won't talk about that one. Yeah, very nice to talk to you, both you young men this morning, and I know that Pete wants to get some contacts through for quite a few to get their badges there. GB0WHT, 2 Echo 0 RFS.
Yeah, okay, Mark. I'll just pop the other two young men on as well, just to say that's a quick message. And I wonder which part of Essex you're from. My YL, soon to be XYL, I suppose. Used to come down that way, but lived up here for donkey's years. I think she moved up here when she was 16. That's a good few years ago. But she got lost the accent, that's for sure. I think she called 60, she tells me. 50, I think it is. I'm trying to think where it's near to. This is a thing, but it's going to be the moment. Anyway, stand by, I'll put the other two young men on.
Hello, my name is Adrian. Alpha India Delta Echo November. I'm 11. I go to 39 Delta Standby. I have about it. My hobby is my favorite hobby is fishing.
Yeah, there we go, stand by for the next one.
Hello, my name is Oliver. I'll certainly met India Victor Echo Romeo. 11 years old. I go to 39 Delta
Hopefully you got all that at the time. 2E0 RFS, GB0WHT.
Yeah, fine business, Pete. Got the very nice young man by the sounds of it. Nice and loud to me as well. Good morning, Aidan, and good morning, Oliver. 2 more badges for you, 1 each for you there. It's going to be a badge competition today, I think. Yeah, I'm back on sea, Pete, by the way, and I know where Pitsy is, near Basildon and near Wickford, south. I can't read it right now. From where I used to live, it's sort of south-west from where I used to live. Right on the peninsula on the Essex coast there. Right, Aidan, how long have you been a scout?
About 2 years now.
2 years, I think you said that. 2 years, you've got a way to go yet. I was in the Company Scouts for, how long was it? years in total. So you got 9 more years to go to beat me. I'm no longer in the Scouts or on the lead or anything. I had to give that up many years ago. And Oliver, right, I didn't quite get what your hobby was, Oliver. From 2 Echo Zero Romeo Foxtrot.
Cycling.
No, I still didn't get it that time, Pete.
Well, just the cycling's enough for all of them on the sound of it, Martin.
Did you say cycling?
Yes, not bicycles, yes.
Oh, good man. I'll speak to him for hours. I used to cycle for a club in Colchester, road racing and time trials, and I find it very interesting. My favourite thing on TV to watch is Tour de France. So, we're going to have a lot in common there, me and Oliver. From 2 Echo Zero, Romeo Foxtrot.
Yeah, I think you said Colchester. I used to go there. I say I used to go there. I've been there a few times on the supplier visit to Colchester Fuel Injection. They used to do all the diesel pumps for the mine sweepers that we used to look after at Rolls Royce when I worked there. So I went there. Yes, sorry, right. Basildon, that was it. That was what I was trying to think of. She lived in Pitsea, which I think you said is near Basildon. And she always told me she used to go to your neck of the woods, Clacton-on-Sea, for holidays or weekend days away, whatever it was. So she knows that area, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'll be well surprised she doesn't know it. I'm glad I moved from there. I moved from there in 2003. And ended up in the northwest in 2011. It's not the place it used to be anymore. It's basically a ghost town. Everything's closed, hotels are gone, butlers are gone. It's full of, how to say it politely, doss houses. It's the only polite way I can put it there, Pete. So I won't ramble on about that. From 2 Echo Zero Romeo Fox, and good luck to the 4 lads that spoke to.
Yeah, okay, Mark. GB0WHC. Returning, I know what you're saying. It's a sign of the times, I think, isn't it? It's so much difference between some of these places, and I always find, Blackpool isn't a place I go to apart from the radio show. It's about the only time I go, and you walk down that front, but when you get behind it, there's some right tatty areas. But I suppose there's everywhere, but it's just, you think, the story industry, whatever, trying to do something about it, it's far to go, but it just seems a bit grotty, I think, the way to put it. Okie dokie, many thanks for that, Mark. Appreciate the call and having a quick word with the lads. We've got the contact and the log sheet now. We'll try and get a few more. What was the other thing? Oh, he used to work for Ilford, which I think was a big place down there, wasn't it, in Essex, Ilford. And then it moved up to, was it Moberley or somewhere around that neck of the woods, and they lived in Winsford for a good many years, so there we go. Anyway. Right, back to you. I'll say cheerio, thank you very much, and my own call, by the way, is G4RRM, Rolls Royce Motors, and I'm QT80s in crew. So I'm surprised they've not run across you on the radio before now, but there we go. Anyway, back to you, Mark. Thanks very much. We'll stay 73 and we'll press on. I think we've got a few hours. I think we're packing up around about lunchtime or just after, so we'll try and get a few more contacts in the log for the lads while 80's holding up. 2E0RFF, GB0WHT.
Yeah, fine business, Pete, no problem at all. Yeah, I know there's a nice big market in Pitsea. There used to be, like a Sunday market. It was huge. You could get virtually anything there. I'm not sure if it's still there. But I know what you're saying about these seaside resorts. I don't know, there's not so much neglect. I think there's just not enough money coming in, so hotels are going and everything else is basically falling down. I was in Blackpool last year and it looked a bit of a mess in places. But that's just the way they're going. I don't think there's going to be any money ploughed in because people don't come from Europe to come to our seaside resort. We don't get the weather for them, really. I can't see somebody coming from Spain to Blackpool for a week's holiday. Well, if they did, I think they'd bring their overcoats with them, and they'd need them as well. Ilford is in Essex, Ilford, but it's a debatable one nowadays because I think Ilford's actually got a London postcode as well. It's very multiracial place as well. I think the main nationality in Ilford is probably Pakistani. and I think there's a lot of a big Jewish community as well. It's not a bad place. Everywhere is good, I suppose, but depends if you want to live there or not. I can't remember working you under your home call though, Pete, G4RRM. It doesn't ring a bell, and I haven't got my log up at the moment anyway. I'm just paper logging for today. Maybe I'll come across you sometime soon. If not, I might meet you in one of the clubs. I do very rarely attend clubs, but sometimes I'll pop into a club one evening and just say hello. That's just the way I am. It's nice to talk to you and the young lad this morning, and I wish you all the best for them. And one quick question, Pete. Did they camp out last night? Because there was a big troop in Essex that camped out last night. They certainly wouldn't want to camp out in Ellesmere Port. We had gusts up to 70 mile an hour last night and howling rain. GB0WHT, 2 Echo 0, Romeo Fox Fox. Back to you, Pete, for a quick final and just a thing on the camping.
Yeah, okay, Mark, fine, GB0WHT with the final. I was just asking the lads, nobody stays here. There's no garden as such here, but it's an old police station we're based in here. But they did go, the lads are from 2 or 3 different scout troops around the area. So some of them did go back to Sandbach and sleep in a tent, but it was indoors, so that's quite comfortable, I should imagine. But yeah, okay, on Ilford. I think it was a company called Ilford that did. I think they did chemicals or something for the photographic industry or something like that. And it moved up here to, I believe it was Mobley, but I might be wrong. So that was the company. That was why they moved up here. And okay, on everything about the area. And my mother-in-law lives out in Spain. She lived up in Winsford for a good many years, and then they packed up about, trying to think when it was, probably about 15 years ago, and moved out to the Costa del Sol, where they live down there. So she's always complaining about the cold when she comes back, but she does come over sort of August time because it gets too hot over in Spain for us. So there you go. You can't win, can you? Right, 73. Thanks very much, and we'll see you again. Hopefully under the home call. We'll keep it here open for you. All the best, Mark. Thanks for your time. 2E0RFF GB0WHT.
Yeah, no problem at all, Pete. And that was Ilford Developers, just off the A12 in Ilford there. I know the company. Well, they used to be there anyway. Right, I'll keep you brief so you can work some more there for the youngsters. GB0WHT, 2 Echo 0, Romeo Fox Fox. 73, Pete, and you have a good day.
Many thanks, Mark. 73, and all the best to you many thanks for giving us a call. Cheers for now. 2E0RFF, GB0WHT, Jota Station is clear with you, and listening on frequency for any calls, please. GB0WHT.